Firescape Engineers inspect the summary video. We're here in Concord, New Hampshire. We're doing a firescape inspection here on this theater. The firescape must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. So right now this firescape did not pass the confidence test, what we call the confidence examination, so it did not pass. It has not been kept painted and is not structurally sound at this time. There is no life safety issues right now, no dangling treads, nothing pulling away from the building, but she is not certifiable at this time. We cannot also proceed to a load test. In New Hampshire, they want the NFPA. The authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength. So I cannot load test at this time. She needs some repairs, and then we can proceed to a load test, or we can reinforce a lot of the connections here, and we will eliminate the need for a load test if we reinforce it and provide other evidence of strength. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. Okay, from the top to the bottom, our biggest issue is really down towards the bottom, but it has repeating problems all the way to the top. We have some snow load issues here also with these snow load caps. We just got to confirm whether or not they need to be epoxy bolted into the building, or if the expansion bolts that are holding them are satisfactory. They too need just some reinforcement on some of their welded connections to confirm that they will accept the snow load. This down here, here's the biggest problem that we have on these. If you look here, you got a lot of rust happening. Water from above is getting in, and the water from above is causing all this rust to basically pop. So we got a lot of rust happening in the entire firescape here, and that is because water from above is getting in, and all the joints are expanding. Rust will expand 5 times its size. So a 1/4 inch will grow to an inch if you leave it. So it's tearing apart all the welded connections. All this must be cleansed, and then we need to seal all these joints, and we need to stop the water from getting up and causing all these tears that's causing this thing to expand. We got rust jacking happening, and we got ice jacking happening during the winter on this entire firescape. Now if you look up, you'll see it all the way up. The entire staircase all the way up has this issue. We're going to climb underneath. We have problems with the platforms and the shelf angles that hold the platforms. It's all diamond plate. So if you go up and look at the entire platform and zoom in a little bit, and then come back down, we're going to go underneath and show some of the problems. We do have some issues with pigeons. If you go on these brackets have a lot of pigeon issues. So we got to make sure it's very acidic. So we got to make sure, and they're doing something about it. They've got nets, they've got nails, they've got things there. We got to confirm, and it looks like there's quite a duplication of epoxy bolts into the building. With all this, those need to be torqued during the repair to confirm they're all in good order. We also have welded brackets. All these brackets need to be gusseted. We need to x-ray or load test these platforms, or if we gusset some of these connections at the front nose, in the back, and at the very bottom here with bolts, we avoid the load test. Otherwise, a load test will have to be performed on this firescape. Okay? And now, if we go underneath here, we're going to have a representation of all the problems that are above on the firescape. So, if you come here, you start seeing the brackets and the water that's getting in and joints. So we got to seal from above and stop this. All these welded connections, we got to put bolts in here to avoid having to x-ray or load test these. We got to put some bolts one ways. We'll do that here. On this side you can see the amount of rust, and this is all fed by water. Okay, so all of this needs to be cleansed. In some cases, some of these brackets need to be sistered, or some of these brackets need to be removed and a new bracket put in. In some cases you got enough left of a steel that it stays, and you sister it with a back-to-back angle. So this is what's happening on everything up above. Now let's go over here to the look. Actually, point down that whole area needs to be cleansed, and we need to basically create a point there where water and dirt doesn't touch the steel. We need to tar as much of that as possible so that any snow, any wind-driven rain, or any wind-driven snow getting back there will not deteriorate that and rotting it out like it is right now, because that's one of the biggest problems. If you come out here, we need to get the steel. We need to get the steel. We need to tar the feet. You need to paint this cement so that the cement is not sending water back to the steel. All these welded joints here need to be X-rayed or load tested. Otherwise, if you put a gusset in here, you put some bolts on either side of this and seal this up, there is no load test here. All the welded connections on the railings, major structural, needs to be verified. All the minor structural welds don't need to, but you need to seal these joints. All these joints need to be sealed to stop the water from getting in there. We need to create a seal down here using tar to stop the piece from rotting in the ground. We got to stop water from getting in here and building and ice jacking and rust jacking. This needs to be sealed. Every one of these connections all the way up. It's already starting to, rust jacking and ice jacking is doing its job. All of these need to be cleaned, encapsulate any rust that can't be removed for whatever reason. 35 to 50 year silicone in all these connections, and then we need to put a nice layer of paint on this and or a rubber coating or create a rubber mat system for here. But every year you need to paint this up every year because this is going to get snow, ice, salt, and that's what's causing a lot of the problems underneath. But once you seal the water from going here, and you need to create something to see where the pitch is, we're going to need to drill some holes in this. These weep holes need to be dealt with to make the water go down. And underneath you have to create something so that the weep holes have a little donut around them so that the water drips straight down and doesn't wet the bottom of the treads. Everything that's feeding water to the back of this, you got to seal that. Anything that's feeding water over here and into the metal, you got to seal it. Okay? Going up, it just starts repeating itself. 100% seal all the railings. Confirm that the posts, the major structural is properly secured. Seal it up against the building. Stop any water from getting above and in the sides. Weep holes. These joints are notorious because underneath the water got in there and it's rotting from underneath. You can see it with the angle.
There's a piece of wood on here too.
Yeah. And you've got the pigeons' nests that are forming underneath and that, so you got to stop those birds. Same scenario here. You got to just close this whole thing up. Give it a nice top coat of paint. Confirm that these things are nice and tied up against the building, which they are. This is just a snow load issue. If this has to be load tested, you're looking at about 8 feet by 4, 32 square feet plus minus. You're looking at 3,000 pounds at least of weight here and all the way down on each individual tread. They're going to want a calculated load on each tread going down, plus the platforms, very costly, very time consuming. But otherwise, if you reinforce this fire escape at this time, you reinforce that there is no load test. And you can offer other evidence of strength on average for the next 15 to 25 years if you maintain the fire escape properly, and your engineer of record will offer to the city other evidence of strength that this fire escape was refurbished, refastened, any welded connections to avoid x-rays or load test was reinforced with bolt, then you shouldn't have any problem. Otherwise, the law requires that this be load tested every 5 years. The International Fire Code as of 2012 now states that all fire escapes must be examined and tested every 5 years, and you must provide a report to the city official, to the fire official on this. Any questions? Fire escape engineers, inspect the summary video. 866-649-0333. 866-649-0333. And this is Cisco. Thank you.